Good day, everyone. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Just trying to do another trade recap for you all. And I just entered this trade, but I'm going to break it down as we go along. So, from a higher time frame perspective, we had traded into a 4 hour gap, right? And I am looking at divergence on the actual Dow Jones, which is US 30 versus NAS. So on US 30, we traded into a loss candle to the downside, but on the NAS, we traded into a gap. So that in itself is a bit of divergence. Okay. That's called zone divergence. And then, of course, also on NAS, we traded into a SPR over here. So that gives me a little bit more confidence we're likely to go up. Then from that particular point onwards, once we hit that 4 hour, we look to see if our 1 hour was external. And if you look down over here, it's not external. However, we get that other criteria, which is we create a new three candle low, we trade below that one into the actual gap. So that makes it external as well, right? At that particular level. Then if we go down to our 5 minute, we get this first start of the process over here, which is stop on, right? We eventually go to break structure. This breaker structure, though, over here is both a SPR, it's got a gap, right? So this entire area, as price traded back in there, took the entry, and I'm going to put the stop below this low because that gap should hold it as well, and this SPR should hold it. Now, I am maybe being a little bit risky because it might go into the lost candles to the downside over here, but usually it does want to go through two of them, two of the zones that I have there. So I'm going to keep the stop, maybe just give it a little bit more room off of that low there, but I'm going to keep it below this low. Okay. So expectations from there then is to get some energetic move now and start targeting these areas over here. And this is that master pattern I've been talking to you guys about. So I'm gonna let this run and we'll come back every now and then to speak a bit some more of it. Okay. Close this along so you can see it a bit bigger. And we'll zoom that in. In actual fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the recording every now and then come back when we have more information. That way, we don't have this video being overly long. As you can see, we're starting to get some movement, and that's why we don't pay for the white space. That is a very good stop below that particular low over there. And price came really close and then started to move back up again. Just as a note for yourself, usually when we have two zones that's protecting an area, you don't want to see it go through more than two. You could be safe and cover three, so it would be two candles on the downside, one gap, and an SPR. You could be safe and cover three, but I normally just cover two. So by the time it's gone through two, it usually means that you've actually got it wrong. Right? Might go through one to reach another one, but gone through two means you usually got it wrong. So we're getting some momentum now. We can also see that we're producing we should produce, so I'm not sure yet, or we might not, but we might produce a double gap over here if this next candle in 3 minutes leaves a gap over there, and then we should start going higher. I'll put targets on for now. The first partial would be from that high to that low. I'm going to take, let me just change this to one of my other templates, the premium discount one. I might look at taking something off over here. I know that's quite close, but that is because I got in on the SPR over there. Um, then likely above this high. So I'm not going to take off much here because normally I take a lot off, but that would be if there is a lot of distance, which in this case there isn't. So I'll take off something here, then there, right? This is the overall target on top, but I'll also take off. Let me just see. There's a gap over there, so I will take off. You know what? I'm going to move this one and make it the 50% of that week. It's going to be my next take profit. Then I'll hold the final bit for the overall take profit over there. Now, as we go up, I'm going to pause and think some more just so that we don't have such a long video. And I'll come back and talk you through the actual management of it as well. Okay, so we hit the first TP area. I was away from the charts, unfortunately, so I missed the opportunity to close right at their portion. But nevertheless, we're going to go ahead and close a portion of it as well, 25% of the overall position. And that's mainly because we still need to go quite far. This was the 50% of the range and it's quite close. So ideally, I should have gotten out at that point, but I was away from the PC. So we're going to let it run again to the next point over there. Okay, we'll come back and we'll talk about it again. Right now, I'm not going to move stops yet because we could still come all the way back into here, into this gap, and then move higher again since we missed it earlier. And I'm looking at the divergence over here. If that was to happen, we'd still be well within the range of where we should be trading from. So, for instance, that's an SPR break. That'll be your SPR and your gap, and your last two candles to the downside will all still be within that range. So, we're going to leave it, not move to break even just yet. We've taken a partial, not a big amount, but we will take some more off once we get here. Okay. So one of the things we don't like to see is price stagnate at a 50% like this, right? So that's going to make me take off some more partial close. Now we might still be correct about the overall trade, but we don't want to see stagnation at the 50% because that means the price could now turn around from here and then go down. Okay. So with that in mind, we've now taken that position off. That puts us now at, let me go have a look here. We made $1,160, and our risk at the moment is just a bit over that. So we can leave the stop at where it is. Because really, in essence, we only risking about $100 if it goes that way. Now, since we've made some profit already. Okay, so now we can leave price action to go even further. I'll take some more off there and the last portion off over there. Okay, back with an update. Unfortunately, because I thought I was recording and didn't hit record again, I went and partialed without you guys getting to see it. But nevertheless, I partialed as we came up over here. In fact, I could probably turn on the execution so you can see where that partial was, right? So over here is where we did the initial partial, and then when it stagnated again, we did the next one, and there's the other one. Okay, so here was the entry, right? As price fell back down into this SPR over here, that was the entry candle, and first partial there, second partial there. So now, if we look at the bottom over here, we have so far made, and let me just check if I can pull this up. Okay, what's happening here? So we're going to check how much we've made so far. I'm bringing up the trade panel, which is not coming up for some reason. Okay, we're having an issue. Yeah, it might be on account of me opening up the other platform as well. I tried to open up there we go. So far 2,260, and we have a floating profit of 920, which is that one floating over there. So I've moved to break even as well, or just above break even, because we've taken enough profit and prices run far enough. The next part of the goal now will be to wait until price gets closer to that overall take profit. So we got more running profit going there. So either break even or overall take profit. And we'll come back to that and see how that played out a little later. So what are we doing? And based on one of the classes that I taught you guys recently as well, we're basically fulfilling the overall V shape. I'll go to single screen for now. How are we doing that? We are looking at price falling down from here into a level and now producing the other side over to that side. Okay. So this was the level, the 4-hour gap that we traded into. And now we are producing out of that level to the targets to the upside. So you can see this in live price action, exactly how I taught our students recently that this will play out. So we basically have this reversal point over here. We have a continuation point over here, an expansion. We have another continuation point now. And I expect that if we can hold above here, we should see a strong push up to hit that particular point. But since we have moved enough now, we don't want to be risking the capital we've made. Since we made over 2,000, we want to protect that by locking it in at break even over here, right? Or just beyond break even, because that's the candle we got in on. Just beyond break even, and then we allow it to run, our runner to run till the end. Now, if we get above this and we hold and we stagnate some more, I might take another portion, right? And then decide from there. So I got out on this high candle mainly because, and I explained this in class, this 50% of this wick is where I want to get out, but I never ever get out exactly on 50%. I kind of take it just before that because the 50% is where it's sensitive. So I always take it at a what I call a 25 or 75% point. I just threw that gray line on at random earlier. And so when we got closer to it, that's where I took profit, right? Because that's where we get some rejection. But I'd like to see us now go above that particular wick, hold above it, and then expand more so higher from that particular point onwards. So that's what we have so far. And I'll come back, I'll pause it, and I'll come back again a little later and then show you where we are in the overall movement. Thank you, everybody. And as you can see, it's a bit of a slow and steady day today. I have moved the stop back into profit even more so, $200 in profit, which is under the swing. Reason being is if you go up to a higher time frame, such as a 1 hour, you see that we have now traded into this 1 hour double gap over here, which also lines up with the lower time frame high. So we've traded into there and we've expanded away. We shouldn't come back into that again. If we do come back into that, then it's likely to turn around completely and go the other direction. Okay, so now we have price in this particular level and we're looking for price to go external there. Now, I am going to be wary about the fact that we might not fully go external because this is quite a long wick here. So we might go 50% of that. I might take another portion off if we stagnate there. If we don't stagnate, I might hold it. Now, this is the time when you need to start watching your other correlated pairs as well. So if I go and look at US 30 at the moment, if US 30 climbs above these highs of a year before US 100, NAS 100 goes over them, then I'm going to close majority of the position because we've reached the objective on one of them. But for now, we're going to manage them under this level. If it comes back, that bags another $200, $205 minus fees. If it goes up, we bag another 2,130. So that's what we're basically doing. We're running 1,265 in profit now on this particular trade. So you can see the management again. That was the entry. Took two positions off over here, took another position off over there. And as you can see, this makes sense. We stagnated there, took it off, and we pulled back there, right? So took it off over there. So now I'm not going to take off at the same point because we should go higher than where we stagnated before. Now, of course, if it does just randomly pull back and take us out, that's just means we don't know. We didn't get the correct direction on that one. Now, could it possibly happen? Yes, because we are coming closer to 9:30 open, and 9:30 open of the stock market wants to grab liquidity. There's two forms of liquidity over here. There's one on top, which is above that high, and there is one below this low, which is everybody who made money on this move up. Deciding which one it's going to take is, I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's difficult to know which one it's going to take beforehand. So instead of trying to guess which one it's going to take, we bring our stops up and we anticipate it going either direction. Once it takes out one of those directions, though, a new trade sets up. So if we go below this and it takes out that, a new trade will set up. If we go above that and it takes it out, a new trade will set up as well. So I might take off some more over here, and then I'll take off the final amount over as we cross above the high over there. Okay. I'll pause again and see you guys back in a few. Sometimes the market just trips you out, right? Got to get out over here. So on that candle with the spike down at the market open, even though this one's going strongly in the other direction. So there's strong divergence on the market. This is usually not a good sign for the one I'm in. As you can see, US 30 is going strongly up on the side, and NAS is going down. Now it might catch up, but it's a better decision to actually get out there at that particular point. So that's what it is. At the end of the day, we've made $2,435 on that trade for the day, and I think that is awesome. Thank you everybody for watching. Hopefully you learned something through this process. Goodbye. Oh, and mindset, multiplication, and management.